This is the true story of one woman's escape from the jaws of a crocodile. The deep, murky waters of Australia's Crocodile National Park hide crocodiles, ready at all times to pounce on unsuspecting travelers. On a February day in 1985, one woman came face to face with a crocodile and lived to tell the tale. Val Plumwood was no stranger to the wild. She was an environmental philosopher and an experienced bushwalker. So when Greg Miles, a ranger at the East Alligator Station, asked her to assess a proposed walking trail, she eagerly accepted. On this particular day, she was excited to get started. But nothing could prepare her for what was about to unfold. She set off in a canoe, oblivious to the invisible danger lurking beneath the surface. As rain pelted down, the river swelled, making the landmarks harder to see. After some time, she realized she was lost and disoriented. So she decided it was time to turn back. But she was already being watched. And then it happened. A crocodile slammed into her canoe, nearly capsizing it. Again and again, the animal came back and proceeded to hit the canoe many times. And she realized that she wasn't just lost anymore, she was in big trouble. With no time to think, she paddled toward a tree, hoping to climb to safety. She was able to get to the tree quickly and managed to jump out of the canoe and grab hold of the branches. But the crocodile had been just as quick, and in seconds the animal had grabbed hold of her legs with its huge jaws. It pulled her back into the water with great force and began its famous death roll. This is where it rolls around and around in the water in order to drown its prey. Because this is what Ms. Plumwood had become, the animal's next meal. But somehow, against all odds, she was able to break free. She grabbed hold of the low-lying tree limbs and proceeded to heave herself up away from the crocodile. But this didn't last long, though. She was gasping for air, terrified, and was in terrible pain. But just as she thought she'd managed to escape, the crocodile bit into her body again. This time it grabbed hold of her upper thigh, and once again she found herself being rolled in the water, over and over again. She later said in hospital that she really wasn't sure what was happening to her at that stage. She knew that the crocodile wanted to drown her, but still thought that it was not real, that somehow it would all stop and she would be all right. But by some miracle, she was able to summon every ounce of strength that she had left and release her body from the animal's jaws. She clawed her way up very slowly on the slippery mud bank. The crocodile did not try to grab her this time, so she managed to stumble forward and land on the ground to safety. She lay there for a long time, her whole body shaking in disbelief. But then she realized she was bleeding heavily from her wounds. She knew her fight for survival was not over. So she ripped some of her clothes to wrap around her legs and her groin to try to stop them from pouring out more blood. It was still raining heavily, and the wind was roaring very noisily. She managed to get the strength to move slowly, and then she saw distant lights. She shouts for help, her voice weak and desperate. When she didn't return to the station by nightfall, the ranger led a search party for her. He heard her faint cries through the storm, and he managed to find her on the dirt path. It took a 13-hour journey to Darwin Hospital, but her ordeal was far from over. She spent a month in intensive care, and they managed to stabilize her condition. She received many stitches on her wounds, but then they became infected. At one stage, the doctors thought they might have to amputate her legs. As she slowly began to heal, she also required extensive skin grafts. Yet against all odds, she pulled through. Ms. Plumwood had survived a crocodile attack, an experience few live to recount. Despite nearly losing her life, she told the authorities she did not want the crocodile found and euthanized. To her, the animal was simply doing what nature intended. If you found this video interesting, subscribe and share for more incredible survival stories.